Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankara Sharya Madhyamam Asmada Sharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishwaro Guratmeti Murti Beda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sabhavedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Om Shanti 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 Om Shanti Om Shwara. We have seen yesterday our in our class. Uh, we have seen the verse 28, no?
I think we're all the way down to verse 30.
Okay. Yeah, I want to just 30. Yeah, 30. Yeah. So we have seen the verse 29 yesterday. It's very nice. Was talking about, if I remember, the way he's really talking about the glory of Bhakti Yoga and this devotional attitude and the fact that the Yin Yoga is the highest possible Bhakta. And he sees no distance, no difference, as if he becomes one with. We know that there is no such a thing as becoming, merging, or joining, or achieving, or reaching, or contacting, or connecting. So it's just a question of a simple understanding. Consciousness is synonymous of God, and consciousness is not the mind. We are never separate. We discovered that there is no distance between God and myself. Therefore, this realization is referred to as moksha. And it's something only attained through one's desire, choice. So this intense desire must be there, otherwise it will never happen. It is the understanding is something attained through one's choice. We need to really want it. We need to understand the difference between self-knowledge and self body mind sense complex, meaning to say self-improvement. The verse 30, he who worships me seeking nothing else should be considered a saint, only even saint only. So even if he has the worst possible conduct, for he has resolved it rightly. So this is a very, very intriguing, contradictory, apparently contradictory statement, because one who is searching God, searching the understanding of the nature of God, searching the conviction that there is no creation without a creator. So one takes that journey, and then it says the resolve. So the first thing to be mentioned here, the resolve to follow this path is a subconscious, begins with a subconscious tendency or resolve. Okay, resolve is more on the conscious mind. So once somebody understands, I'm being moved by spiritual vasana, and things of this world no longer attracts me. And in the past, I was totally ignorant of the value of searching, seeking the understanding of the nature of realities, the nature of God. Therefore, I was having horrible conduct. So, but now I have made a resolve. The resolve, which was just some Vasana level, now became conscious. He has a resolve. So now this is my path. And then even if he or she has the worst possible conduct in the past, okay, in the past, because once somebody has made this decision, one must observe Dharma, make a huge effort to understand Dharma and observe Dharma. It's not easy. Mistakes happen, and we must accept that. We must accept that we try our best, but here and there we may make some small mistakes. There is no question of feeling guilt about that. And in order to address this problem of freeing the mind of the Jivatma from this psychological problem, which is the feeling guilt, he puts it to an extreme of exaggeration, say that we should consider a saint only by the fact that someone has resolved to come towards me to understand my nature. Only that we should say, like, okay, consider these people a saint, even if he has had terrible conducts in the past. But once someone has made this resolve, some not so good conduct may happen. One should never be feeling guilt. Therefore, Krishna ji says, so even if he has terrible conduct, he has made a decision which is changing the course and direction of his or her lifetime, life experience. He worships me seeking nothing else. So the other thing is, one who is so much dedicated to understand the nature of God as consciousness is so hot in that search, that seeking, that one does not want anything anymore. Okay, really, all desires have seems have proved to be just irrelevant. None of that is going to really help me resolve my mind, purify my body, mind, sense complex. So I want nothing else, but I want spiritual elevation, purification, refinement, and I get that by become an Niskama Bhakta, by being a Karma Yogi of the highest possible level. So he's thinking of nothing else but that. So this indeed should be considered someone, close to purification, close to become as pure, not 100% pure because there isn't such a thing, but pure enough to successful accomplish self-knowledge and liberation in the light of the teachings of the Upanishads. So we need to purify enough for that. And impurities may remain there. Sometimes they may come up, but they must be seen as residual bits and pieces of ignorance that such a devotee look at it and say, okay, are you still there? Never mind. I don't give any energy into you, and I don't feel guilt. If you are threatening me by trying to make me feel guilt so that I give up my spiritual path, so forget it. I won't. So he has resolved it rightly. So it's a very interesting, very beautiful verse. In the previous verse, there was a comparison between Sakama and Niskama Bhakti. The difference was shown very, very extensively, the difference. So now in the final portion of this 9th chapter, from the 30th to the 40th, Krishna ji is talking about the glory of bhakti. And what is the glory of Bhakti Yoga, as he's going to present later on in the 12th chapter. Bhakti is a sadhana which can be started any stage of life, any stage of spiritual development. So bhakti is a devotional attitude that begins the moment someone understands consciously or subconsciously that there is a supreme power, there is a creator, that there is God. So just to understand that, whatsoever level of spiritual development makes someone a bhakta. Any stage of spiritual development. It's not like yin yoga that you cannot practice yin yoga when you are just getting in touch with the concept of God and the concept that God is the creator, is the supreme intelligence, or is this or that deity. So once you get into that understanding, you can become a bhakta, but never a yin yogi. Yin yoga will start later on at the very end of your journey. It requires great purification. You have to go through preparatory disciplines. And but to become a bhakta, you don't need any qualification. You have to have a certain pre-qualification, which is humility, modesty, to the degree that you understand that there is a higher power operating here. So the reason is bhakti itself has several stages. You can join this beautiful devotional path in whatsoever stage of development you find yourself. The thing is to become a devotee. It's somehow it requires a certain degree of development, because if the mind is too arrogant, too vain, if the person is too, materialistic and arrogant, the person will never become a bhakta. Bhakta requires a great degree of humility so that one conceives the notion, puts energy to understand the notion that there is a higher power operating here, and we should be grateful for our existence at this point in time. So we have seen that there are several stages. We've seen it in the last class yesterday. In the beginning, we are trying to gain things for the sake of security and pleasures, and then later on we want to do things for the sake of punya, spiritual punya, celestial punya, or just material punya. When we talk about spiritual punya, more often than not, the tradition refers to being able to ascend into a higher loka, celestial loka. But the ultimate spiritual punya is the one who is conducive to spiritual purification and refinement, preparedness for the last stage, which is yin yoga. So we have seen that in the beginning we use Bhagwan only for the sake of getting things of this world. What is Artha Bhakti? When you are afraid, you use Bhagwan. Children just pray to God so that if I have to do an important exam, that it helps me, to clear my mind so that I can perform the best possible way. Whenever a person is afraid, he looks for support. They just try to address or to invoke or to connect with God to find support. It works. Swami here presents something that has a nice element of psychology, but also there is some scientific elements as well. Psychologically and statistically, it was proved that a bhakta has got more confidence. For example, if one gets a terrible, a terminal diagnosis, and then you have a terminal disease, so the person is not going to be so destroyed, crashed, Why? Because someone said, "Oh, but anyhow, whatsoever level of understanding, I mean, if I believe that God can cure me, that will give me some comfort. But if I believe that everything follows a certain order, again, I will accept that as my prerogative. The confidence will be there. And then the psychology here is because of the confidence in one's immune system, boo, 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 is higher. And we know that. Now, if we are afraid, if we are resisting, huh? If we are irritable, angry, our immune system goes down. So if immune system is high, so that is the best possible medicine. And then you can put some other treatments on top of that, and things are going to work faster. We see so many examples of people curing from cancers that were said to be incurable because of a certain attitude that somehow made the person very, very relaxed and confident. So a person in distress, a super materialist person, can even start being a bhakta. If he wants to start a factory, I say do a puja. Da, 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 da. And business people can become a bhakta because they want to be successful and they want to invoke Ishwara to help into that endeavor. So even a materialist person can practice bhakti yoga. Depending upon our spiritual evolution or stage of growth, everybody can become a devotee of Ishwara. In fact, in the 12th chapter, which is coming, Krishna is going to divide the bhakti in 5 levels, and it's going to present from the highest level to the lower. If you can practice this, the fifth one, try. If you can't practice the fifth one, go to the fourth, go to the third, and da 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 da. So I don't know if I mentioned, but on the 12th chapter, it was Krishna broke this bhakti yoga in 5 levels because he presented the karma yoga in 2 levels. Karma yoga totally dedicated to a god, which is characterized by a name and a form. And then on the second level, and that he calls Kami Yoga, the second level is Kami Yoga, but then you are dealing with a God which is not contained in one name and a form, but it is a totality of all namarupas. It is Ishwara cosmic, it's a Vishvarupa Ishwara. So that is the second level, the way Krishna has structured that. The first, and then the third entering in Upasana, the third one is you can do Upasana using a deity, a personal god, Ishta Devata. So you can do that, but then you can also do Upasana utilizing the Vishvarupeshwara. You do your meditation, visualizing Ishwara as manifest here. And even in a more subtle way, you can visualize the intelligence that somehow manages all of this, sustains all of this. You can do that in Upasana. You bring your mind to one notion, one concept, which is a certain aspect of God. Yes?
When we were doing Mandukya and we were talking about Om meditation and going through Paranyagarbha and all that, is that a Vishwarupa Upasana meditation?
Well, when we were doing I never did the meditation, But the suggestion there was to do meditation on three levels. Each one of those levels relate to one of these three dimensions, the physical, the subtle, and the causal one. And then there you have the Jiva, you have that order, and the idea was to meditate on those aspects of God manifest in each one of those three worlds, in which we experience a certain duality. And that is a way of being contemplate on Ishvara, condensed on the Om, three letters that makes one sound, and the three letters are concising, the causal and the subtle and the physical material universe in which there is the jiva, there is the field of experience. So here, the Vishvarupa Ishvara is technically present here as meditating upon Ishvara, manifest as the totality of all Namarupas in all configurations is the manifestation. We have to remember Ishvara is the intelligent, efficient cause, but it is as well the material cause. So it manifests, as the intelligence that sustains this material world, but it manifests in a way more tangible as the cosmos manifests physically. Okay, so that is Vishvarupa Ishvara. When I present this concept, I invite people to try, meditate upon Ishvara as the intelligent cause that produce the intelligent effect. What are these intelligent effects? The laws and principles behind the miracle of life. It's everything is structure, design, uh, based on these laws and principles that somehow holds this universe in place. So that is the meditation on Vishvarupa, Ishvara on a subtler level that I have been editing and presenting here. You understand? Because it's very beautiful. You have a tree, and then you say, okay, I'm gonna meditate today upon Ishvara with this tree here. The tree has been serving me, has been giving me fruits and this, and I know that it's all Ishvara here, and then I'm gonna keep the image of this tree. So the thing is that meditation serves two purposes. One is to bring one pointedness, and the other is expansion of the mind. One pointedness brings when you hold your mind on a certain concept. Okay? So you educate your mind to stay put on something. You educate a small child or a small dog. You understand? So the other one is you're going to get the mind to be put on something which is so subtle that is going to expand the mind or make the mind more and more subtle, because you are dealing with an object of meditation which is more subtle. You need a subtler mind. You invite the mind to become more and more subtle to meditate upon something that is more subtle. So when you meditate upon any physical tree or anything, like that, your cat, so that is an expression of God. That is a more tangible and object of meditation. But if you meditate upon the intelligence behind your cat, for example, or your trees, that is a more subtle aspect of the Lord. Okay, so
Vishwarupa could be, depending upon your understanding, it could be just the universe as it appears to the body mind sense complex, or it could include the subtle and the causal.
it could include, yeah, and that is more or less the purpose of the meditation upon Om, Yeah.
And then the silence after the Om. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. The most important point that I try to highlight is that meditation serves this true purpose, to bring one-pointedness and to bring subtlety and expansion of the mind. The expansion of the mind is because you start expanding your mind to receive suggestions in regard to objects of God, a meditation as a symbol of God, which is as expansive as the entire cosmos. So the mind is expanding, and then we say, okay, and then try as well an expansion that involves the intelligent cause that manifests as the laws and principles that are hold together this miracle. And then all of that is going to bring on not only one pointedness, but subtleness or subtlety of mind and expansion as well. That's the important concept. Anyone can begin bhakti in whatsoever level. If this intellect is not sharp enough, bhakti, Bhagwan is all defined. So in the 12th chapter, when we go there, Krishna is going to present from the most subtle, which is meditate upon God, which is not contained in a name and a form, and it's not contained in the totality of all names and form, but God as the formless, nameless principle. That's the ultimate meditation. Yeah? And to contemplate on that notion of God, which is free from all attributes and qualities and characteristics, because it has no name, no form, has no attributes, there's nothing. It's only possible by contemplate the teachings of the Upanishads. So it's just, that's why our meditation is nididhyasana, remembering those fine declaration, the final teachings that explains the nature of realities, reality as limitless conscious existence, free of any attributes of Maya. But if the intellect is not subtle enough or sharp enough, we can step back to the fourth level, and then the third level. In this 12th chapter, it's interesting because it presents first the two levels of Bhakti Yoga and then the two levels of Upasana. And I tend to suggest that these levels, they are not like, there is not a really tangible uh, line define them. You can be a Kami Yoga and make great progression as a Upasaka as well. Depend upon your level, you always have levels a slot. This is one point. What is the meaning of these words? Slot?
A slot is something where it's a little vacancy where you can fit something. So in other words, you can step into any level. A slot, a place for you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. There is one more point that Krishna or Swamiji is stressing here. Almost every human being suffers from a problem of guilt or inadequacy. Now, the Ananda used to put in terms of sense of inadequacy, which is more or less a sense of feeling guilt or not good enough. Why? Because we have not fulfilled society's or people's expectations. We do a lot of mistakes. Our conduct in the past was not the most dharmic. So we have done things that we are even ashamed by ourselves. I know what it is to feel ashamed of certain things. And it comes a point that you break somehow that identification with that ignorant doer who did such a Adamic things. For example, there is a conscience behind me all the time judging my action because I know what is right and what is wrong. So it is a nice conversation here. He said that deep inside we know what's right and what's wrong, and there is a conscience that allows us to realize it when we are really making a mistake. And we judge ourselves, that judgment remains there because we are totally identified with the doer of those actions. So self-knowledge breaks the solid identification in a way that even if there is something that was not worth to be proud of that you do, yet due to the absence of identification as the doer of those actions, one does not feel guilt. Swami Dayananda used to say, what's right and what's wrong need not to be taught. There is something like common sense. Common sense is enough. Swami Dayananda used to say, even a thief knows that robbing, stealing is wrong. He does not need much education. So how does he know? Because if he robs someone, he's going to make sure to protect his new belongings so that nobody robs him because the general law, ahimsa is never to do to others what I don't want to do to me. So the fact that he's protecting the thing that he stole means to say that he does not want people to steal. Therefore, he knows that people do not want to be stolen as well. So there is a common sense. But here, that's why Paramarthananda presents one of his great jokes as well, when he said, but unfortunately nowadays, common sense is becoming very uncommon. You probably heard him say that, huh? But this is the psychology behind it. Because he knows that robbing, stealing is wrong, he does that secretly. He does that, but he does not want anybody to know. It's not only a question of not wanting to be caught, but I don't want anybody to know because I know it's really bad. So straight away he walk, he take away whatever he wants. He was watching and he lost whatever he had. So why should a thief come steadily? Because stealthily, because he knows what is wrong. Therefore, conscience is always there. He knows that that's not a good thing to do. If common sense based norm standard of what's right and wrong, if common sense based norm standard of what is right and wrong, oh, the sentence ends like that. And this conscience, which is common sense based norm, will always judge my action. This is very nice, it's very profound insights, psychological insights. Whether Bhagwan will come later on and judge you in the last day or not is irrelevant because you are judging yourself. Who is judging yourself? Your conscience. It's going to be producing again and again a sense of inadequacy, of guilt. You know, I'm becoming aware of my mistakes, and this is guilt. And that's why people are afraid to go to the temple and even to the sannyasis. They don't want to be judged by anybody. I do not have the eligibility, they say. And that's why in every religion there is confession. So Swamis say that they don't even like to go to the Swami because they feel that they are going to be judged by the Swami as well. And then they say, I do not have the eligibility. They say that I'm not anybody. They should confess their sins. But in most religions, there is a confession uh, saying there with the priest, just to see if one frees oneself from the guilt. It's a very interesting psychological play. You go there, you say, I did this, I did and this and this and this, and say, okay, you pray like this, like this, like this, and everything is good. And people believe that, and possibly, if he believes that the God through the priest has forgiven him, he may be able to forgive himself, but I doubt that. The fact is that guilt begins, with breaking or violating God's laws and principles, meaning to say Dharma. Everybody develops this sense of inadequacy, of guilt, of having been doing something wrong, and then it's a big problem. The feeling of being guilt. Even in the spiritual path, guilt can be a big problem. I can always conclude I cannot follow this spiritual path. Even if I follow, I will not succeed. I have conclude. And because of what, So the fact is, I feel guilt. I feel guilt because I'm not good enough for moksha. Some people have this. It's natural. It happens. They just think, oh my God, I thought that I was so close to moksha. And now I feel smaller. I feel, yeah, guilt. I should be one of these spiritual geniuses. So why I need to do so much work still? So there is no point in comparing every one of us as individuals to any other individual. We just have to do our work. That's why in the sixth chapter it said that we require four kripas. You remember Atma Kripa, grace of oneself? So you need to grace yourself. You need to forgive yourself. You need to be very, very gentle and generous with yourself, understanding that we were born out of ignorance. We live in ignorance. Society is a notion of ignorance, and we all the time we make mistakes because in the school nobody teaches us Dharma. Nobody teaches us what we are seeing here in this passage of the Gita. Therefore, although there is a common sense, there is a conscience in each one, and even though most of the religious structures talk about do's and don'ts, the mandaments and so on, yet, people they have this pressure to go and succeed. They have feelings of being not good enough, and then they want to prove to the world that they can be successful, and they do all kinds of things that are in violation of Dharma. No? So the first thing is to understand that and to be gentle, to be generous, and forgive yourself. Okay? Grace yourself. Let's say, okay, I did many things, but everybody here seems to be suffering from the same problem, which is spiritual ignorance. Now at least I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I want to grow spiritually. I want to grow as a religious, dharmic individual. I grace myself. And then I have the grace of Ishwara. I say, yes, my daughter, yes, my son. So just make this resolve and keep going. Forgive yourself. Never develop any sense of inadequacy or guilt or inferiority or not being good enough for the task. So Ishwara is going to say, okay, I grace you as well. And then you get the Guru grace, which is when you least expect Ishwara puts a Guru in your life. Okay. And then it's another level of grace. And then a guru, there are different kinds of guru, but the ultimate guru is a teaching guru. And for teaching a guru, we need to teach the scriptural knowledge that was revealed direct by Ishwara. So we need scripture, we need the guru, we need the blessing of your good karma, which begins with you forgiving yourself and making an important, absolute, the most important resolve, which is leave my guilt behind and begin moving into the understanding of the nature of God as my own nature. So what is Atma Kripa? So Atma Kripa is the ultimate conclusion of this process, yeah, in which the mind is totally calm, is totally free of guilt. And that is really only possible to the degree that we no longer identify as the doer and the enjoyer of our actions and results. Yeah? So therefore, we get something which is the blessings, the grace of self-knowledge, which frees the mind from all these problems. That makes the mind very, very strong, balanced, and confident in a way that even if we do mistakes, I can correct those actions without feeling guilt and carry on my spiritual path with confidence. This is very nice. Every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. The sinner today can become saintly like in the future, pure enough in the future, dharmic enough in the future. Why should I feel bad? This mind has got Atma Kripa, this confidence in oneself. So your grace is a mind which is confident. So grace yourself, understanding, being confident that we were all in the same boat. We are all moved by so much ignorance, but there is a way out. And the scriptures, the Guru and Ishwar is here to support us, are here to support us. Therefore, Krishna wants to pump confidence into every student of Vedanta. Do not say that you cannot do it. Please say, I can do it. Therefore, Krishna says, even the worst sinner can come to Bhakti Yoga with confidence. Durakara means a person of evil, corrupt, in a corrupt context. It means extremely corrupt person who has done all kinds of papas, including Pancha Maha, the worst possible sins. Even this person need not be worried if he really makes this resolve. If one comes to me without any wavering in one's mind, having somehow got a flash of light that allowed the person to redirect one's life towards God. And the mind is so clear, unwavering, focused, Ananya Bhakti, with total surrender. If that person comes, the day she made that resolve has decide the life, a new life to the person. Dayananda Swami beautifully used to say, nobody can change another person. He used to say, I cannot change my students, but if you decide to change, I cannot stop you from changing. So I can assist you in that case if you have decided to change. This is the principle. And the change here is, of course, not something in respect to our true nature, which is unchanging. It's nirvikara, but is the change in our attitudes, the change in our mental, emotional body, which is sick with a lot of tendencies which are dharmic, which feeds into more and more sense of guilt and inadequacy. That can be healed. but one needs to understand the base is here. Sometimes it seems there is something hit someone and somebody say, no, now my life it changed. You know, I'm a new person. We see these people now, born again, they're a new person. And therefore, Krishna says, a person who has made this decision is as good as a saint. Even though he has only decided this decision is a turning point in one's life. Somebody nicely said, it's not where you stand that matters, it's which direction you stand that matters. This is so beautiful. It's one of my favorite. Uh, uh, I have no way to highlight it in a way that I can remember to pick up. It does not matter what you stand. You can be standing at the very beginning. You know, you look behind, you see all horrible conducts you just had in your life and actions, papas, and then parabadas, which are terrible. It doesn't matter. You're standing there, but you are looking in the direction of light. You are looking to the direction of God. It's not where you stand, but the direction you are standing towards that matters. If you are closest to God, also, this is also the other side of it. You may be very close to God, but if you turn to the other side, it doesn't matter how close you are to the understand of your nature as one, nature in God as God. But you can look to the opposite side and fall for materialism again, or fake gurus or opportunists, and so on. So if you are closest to God, also, if you're walking in the opposite direction, you may lose your way completely as well. On the other hand, if you are very far from this process, from the conclusion of this process, but if you are, totally moving towards it, and with a mind that gives no room for waverings, no? You are moving in the right direction. A location doesn't matter, the direction is what counts the most. This is very important. Never compare yourself with others. Be proud that you are moving in the right direction. It's so beautiful. You don't need to be proud, but be confident. I mean, we know that pride is not something very good, but to feel guilt and inadequate is even worse, you know? So feel positive about yourself because you have turned the direction of your life, Tap you in your shoulder and say, okay, so I have made a great resolve now. You have made the right resolve. Your life is changing. You have reoriented your life. The person has reshuffled the priorities in his life. So beautiful. And therefore, the person is confident. And he begins this path towards God, which must involve devotion at any level, depending upon your level of development. And then it takes us to the next file here. Krishna has completed the topic on Niskama Sakama, as we know. And then he highlights or stresses the glory of Bhakti Yoga. Any person of any level of spirituality can become a devotee of the Lord. That is the most amazing thing, available for everyone at any stage. You can begin as a artha bhakta seeker, seeker and devotion, and then other levels as well. You can recourse to God at any level, artha bhakti, for example. You can run to God and be a devotee whenever you have some challenge or you want to begin a new project in your life. Ask support that will help your mind to be more calm and efficacious. In fact, one of the names of the Lord is very interesting. Is Artha Trana Parayana. One of the names of the Lord is that entity commit to helping the people who are in crisis. This is an initial level. When the bhakta in this initial level usually remember the Lord when he is having crises or difficulties and so on, or challenges. And gradually you go graduate to become a Tarti Bhakti, and then Jignyasu Bhakti and Yani Bhakti. So we have seen all of that. The moment the person has decided to associate with the Lord, the Creator, then that itself he can be called uh, Sadhu Purusha, because it requires a little bit of humility, a little bit of understanding that however great we are, our free will has its limitation. Okay. Requires a little bit of humility, definitely. Then itself, he can be called a Sadhu Purusha. Did you understand this terminology? Sadhu Purusha. Purusha is a pursuit,
Wise person.
a wise person. Okay, thank you. He says that we have limitations in all levels, and our choice are not the best one because we can't really see the big picture when you make certain choice. Mm. And therefore it's better to be humble and to look for support into the Lord. No doubt human being has some powers, no doubt human being can achieve a lot of things, but however great a human being may be, he is bound by amazing limitations. Once the moment I understand the limitation of my free will, so this free will here is our Viveka Shakti. I mean, we have certain limitations. We are called to make choice or decisions moment to moment, and our this discriminating, discerning faculty has certain limitations. Our human intelligence cannot really see the big picture, and only God has this entire equation, in which he can see. It's like people who play how you say the chess. They have to foresee many moves ahead, and so on. And then appears AI, and AI seems to play better than many of these players. So Ishvara can see all the moves, because it is the law of karma, causality. So our limitation is huge. So wisdom helps me to take the help of an external fact. So you see, wisdom, the difference here being highlighted between wisdom and super intelligence. Wisdom is to recognize my limitations in terms of human intelligence, in terms of my Viveka Shakti. And that is wisdom. Wisdom is to understand and accept the limitations of the human intelligence or discrimination. No? So one may have a high IQ, very highly intelligent, but yet is not a wise person because it loses it and forgets one's limitations. Yeah. My wisdom helps me to look for help into from the Lord. Okay, and when you talk to these very intelligent people, they are mostly all scientists. They're moving into something other than spirituality. They are materialistic by nature. They are very intelligent, but they are not wise people. Dayananda beautifully used to say, wisdom is seeking help when it's required. It is foolhardy and arrogance not to take the help when it is required. And uh, and most of these geniuses, they believe that religious people are very unwise and weak because they search for seek help from this supreme principle, power, God. They see this is it's just a concept. There is no such a thing as God. Now they are saying that artificial intelligence, people, not, even the experts do not know how to define artificial intelligence. I have seen an interview, beautiful, fascinating lately, in which this person was confessing like nobody knows exactly the nature of artificial intelligence. They don't know. We don't know how it's developing. This, it growing. Nobody knows exactly where it's going to go, and so on. And then the person says the thing, and it's not surprising because we don't have any understanding of what it is, human intelligence either. I found it. Yes, so we don't know how this intelligence, human intelligence, came into place, but God knows. You know, God knows, and we have the scriptures coming from God that allows us not to know exactly how this intelligence came about and how it develops, but to understand that all of this has only one common denominator, which is consciousness, which is the only reality that can be known. Other than that, we cannot know the mystery of life, the mystery of human intelligence, and these technicians do not understand the nature of artificial intelligence either. An intelligence-wise person understood the limitation of human intelligence and takes help of the Lord, even if it's meant for material purpose at the beginning. That itself is the first step. There is no rule that you have to surrender to the Lord only for spiritual help. The scriptures point out that it is intelligence surrendered to the Lord in any level. It's wisdom. It's a very, very controversial topic because there are so many religious circles that says come and surrender to God, you know, because that's the way to go. And by the way, you have to donate 10, 15, 20% of your net income to my church. You understand? And then they make promise. At least here in Brazil, I know so many stories. Oh, we're gonna get you a new husband, a new wife, and this and that, blah, 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 blah. So, but surrender to the Lord, it's in our tradition, is understanding this relationship between Ishvara and Jiva, and conforming, uh, harmonizing, living in harmony, aligning your life with this God's laws and principle. That's all there is. Surrender to God is surrender to the law of karma, surrender to God's laws and principles. It's not an entity. You have to conform your life to God's laws and principles. Once a person surrenders to the Lord's laws and principles, the person will find that there is an extra strength in one's mind. Told you the other day, they have statistically proved that religious people have got more emotional strength. And not only they have more emotional strength, but they have a much better immune system and resistance at the physical level. There is a transformation through devotion, through leaning towards God, leaning into God to deal with this difficult world that we are submitted again and again to so much adversities. So one will see the transformation, this inner strength will grow, and my devotion will grow. When the devotion grows naturally, my strength will be more. Thus, you get into a cycle. It is a good cycle, it's not a vicious cycle. We enjoy cycles, but we want those cycles that spin, take you up, elevate yourself, rather than bring you down. If it brings you down, it's a vicious cycle. More devotion, more strength, more confidence, more lack of guilt or sense of inadequacy, more devotion. So it becomes a very healthy process of vasana or tendency. Tendency is good, becomes a very healthy tendency. Until then, the person was addicted to unhealthy practices. Now the person has de-addicted itself from these inferior patterns or tendencies and is practicing a positive tendency. When we say that Vedanta is developing a set of new vasanas that are going to create new tendencies, they say, oh no, I want to be free from all vasanas. No, nobody can live free from all vasanas or tendencies. We need to cultivate good, positive tendencies, and those tendencies are described in the scriptures of Vedanta that we need to cultivate, not for the sake of living a life under this new programming, new set of vasanas and tendencies, but those positive tendencies that Swami is put in terms of addictions, predispositions, they are going to create the mental environment in which you're going to understand the true nature of reality. It's not developing a good, positive predisposition or set of vasanas. It's not the end by itself, but it's a mean by which you qualify to understand the true nature of non-dual consciousness is the only reality. So this addiction to devotion, it is an addiction, but worth having it. It's a tendency, it's a predisposition, it's a desire to grow into that. It's a good desire, worth having. Soon the person will get over even to that tendency, that predisposition. Soon the person will be over. Whether we should get over or not is a different question. But if you see it as a disposition or tendency, know that sooner or later that will go as well if you complete your journey. But understand that those are much better set of vasanas, much better predispositions or vasanas. Oh, I don't want to be moved by vasana. You need to have vasanas in harmony with the nature of reality, because those vasanas are going to move you into the direction recognizing that you are that reality, free, limitless conscious existence, one without a second. So that's what it is. The process, Krishna says, you can call this person a saint like Valmiki. Why he's a saint? Because he has taken the right resolve. One who has taken this right resolve. And what is the Niskaya? Did you find out what is Niskaya here? Means Niskaya. Vyavasaya means Niskaya.
Nishchaya is that
One.
firm.
Yeah. Say it again.
It is that firm resolve, the Nishchaya.
Is what?
Firm resolve.
A firm resolve. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. He has taken this right firm resolve. Therefore, he is a Vaivasyata, which is equal to is the one who has taken the Niskaya, the resolve. A person of a Niskaya. And what is the Niskaya? I'm going to take the help of the Lord because I want to live a life of freedom and happiness and satisfaction, harmonious life, Then what will happen to this person? That will be said now in the next verse. Soon this person becomes a noble soul and certainly attains lasting peace. Oh, Arjuna, beautiful. It's really, really so beautiful that sometimes I feel emotional with this Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Shall we meet next Monday, Lynn, or not?
Well, I would be happy to. I don't know. Did you consult with Mark about his schedule?
Well, his schedule, from what I understood, he works 6 days a week. It's just
Uh,
the time is different. Sometimes it's in the afternoon, and then he
yeah.
can do sometimes if when it's in the morning, and then one of these shifts he can do the class. This
Okay.
week he was doing a shift that did not allow him to. Next week he's probably going to be able to watch all the classes if I understood it correctly.
Great. Right. I'm on board for anything.
Okay, then I will announce it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste.
Thank you, Orlando.
Next
Lovely.
next
Lovely,
Monday.
lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. See you soon.